Hey everyone, I'm really excited about tonight's Zoom because it's something that you guys have all been asking for. Probably the most common thing I hear from new distributors and even people that have been in for a while is that I can't find distributors, or I can't sign them, or I can't sign them fast enough, or I want to build a team, or I don't know what to say to people. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And I asked 3 of the top recruiters on our whole team this year to share all sorts of good stuff with you guys tonight. So we're just going to jump right into it. But I wanted to let you know, find the chat box, because as the girls are talking, they are going to be sharing some of their messages in the chat for you guys. Okay, so obviously we don't just copy and paste and spam, but copy and paste these to your phone so that you can tweak them, make them your own, and have them on hand as you start talking to more and more potential distributors. So I asked them each to share at least like one chicken message, like a message to someone they haven't talked to yet before. I asked them to share follow-up messages for anyone they've already talked to or anyone you guys have already talked to, and then just some of the messages that they use during a conversation to explain either what we do or how we get paid or what it takes to get started, okay? I feel like most people struggle with just what to say and when to say it, so read through those messages, save them to your phone. I will post them to the team page as well so that you guys have them, and that should help you just go out and freaking talk to people and start asking them to join, because you'll have no excuses, because you'll have all the words that you have to say. So I'm going to start with Miss Tiffany, and she's just going to share like a little bit about her journey with the business, how long she's been in, and something that It Works has done for her.
So I am Tiffany. I'm a double diamond, and I live in Lubbock, Texas. I've been in the business, October will be 3 years, which is so crazy. And I would have to say that my because of It Works is I get to soak up so much precious time with my little guy before he starts kindergarten. It took us 7 years to have him, and I honestly feel like I was robbed of the first 2 years of his life. I missed so much. I missed him roll over. I missed his first step. I missed, several of his first words. Daycare literally saw him more than I did. So I am beyond blessed that I kind of had a redo of that. And even though it's not the same as being able to be there with him for his first 2 years, I've been able to be there the last, 2.5 years leading up to kindergarten. And even though I could probably name a bajillion things of because of It Works, that's probably my biggest accomplishment. So
I love it. All right, so let's dive into signing distributors, because you are consistently like the #1 recruiter on our team. So we all want to pick your brains. And obviously, if you guys don't already know this, it's a numbers game. So a lot of what you're going to hear tonight is just these girls put in the work every single day, and they do a lot of the same things over and over and over again, but they're going to give you some more specifics. So let's just start with like your #1 tip for signing distributors that you think people need to hear.
My #1 tip, it's going to sound really cheesy, but it is the truth, and it is consistency in your follow-ups. Very rarely have I ever signed anyone from the very first time messaging them. You got to think of it in this kind of analogy. When a farmer plants their crops, they can't just leave them unattended. They can't just not water them. They can't just not fertilize them. They need sunshine. And, while some take a while to bloom, some crops bloom faster, some never bloom at all. And that goes the same for us in this business. We cannot just message someone and expect them to bloom after one message. We have to water them, AKA follow up with them. We have to fertilize them, AKA answer questions they may have. We have to remember that everyone takes a certain amount of sunshine to bloom, and we have to have patience while giving them that sunshine. The harvest will come, but you have to remember it's up to you and only you to water those seeds after you plant them. So my biggest tip would be consistency and following up.
I love it. And just to clarify, what kind of people are you following up with? Like ones that didn't answer and people that told you they didn't have the money, like all the excuses? Okay. Just want to make sure.
I follow up with everyone. I follow up with people that ignore me. I follow up with people that literally have told me, no. I mean, Chelsea, who's on here, she's told me no, like for almost 2 years straight. So you just can't give up on somebody. Yeah, you don't want to waste your, I don't want to say waste your time, but you don't want to waste all of your day on just follow-ups. But that's an important part of it. Just because, yes, you always want to plant those new seeds, but you have to take care of the other seeds, because that's where you're going to grow, is taking care of the ones that you've already planted.
I love it. I just wanted to clarify, because I have a lot of people that are like, everyone's telling me no. But then we'll talk through the conversations, and it's like one person said they're too busy, and one person stopped responding, and then one person didn't have the money. And I'm like, those aren't no's, those are follow-ups. Like when we say follow-up Friday and Fortune is in the follow-up, those are the people that you follow up with. Like that's what we're talking about, is like harvesting that, or showering putting sunshine on the seeds, whatever you want to call it. Like that's what we're talking about. It's checking in with those people. And so many people are so scared to do this business that follow-up is a way to show people that you are confident they can do this and that you're serious about the business. Okay, because there's nothing weirder than you reaching out, talking about how amazing someone would be at this business, and then just never saying anything ever again. Like that doesn't help them feel any more confident joining. So, okay, so the next thing, what do you think is the number one thing that holds people back from signing distributors, or signing more distributors, or signing a lot of distributors?
I would honestly say not contacting enough people. And I know that some people hear, the number that I message people and they think it's crazy. But you have to understand, when I started this business, I worked full time. I worked 60 plus hours a week. And I knew that if this was going to fit in my schedule, I had to find a way to make that happen. I wasn't going to be able to be one of those girls who stopped everyone at the supermarket. I wasn't going to be one of those girls who had parties left and right. Like I knew that my personality, I was going to be a more behind the scenes social media type person. So if that was the case, I knew that I had to do more than message just 10 people a day. So although my amount of messages a day may sound scary to people, it's a number that I set for myself. And this is kind of where I came up with it. So if you message 100 people a day, 10 of those people may respond. 5 of those people may be no's, and 5 of those people may turn into hardcore potentials. Well, if you set a goal to do that a day, that's 35 new potentials a week. That's 150 new potentials a month. And that's 1,825 new potentials a whole year. That's crazy when you really break it down to see what 100 messages a day will do for you. And I think a lot of people look at 100 and then, or even look at 50 or look at 25, whatever your number is, and expect to see that amount come right back to you. And that's just not how this business works. You have to think, when I send 100 out, I may only get 5 potentials out of that 100, but long term, it turns into so many more. And so if you're sitting here and you're watching and you're like, Tiffany, there's just no way. I can't send 100 out. There's 24 hours in a day. Take about 8 hours average sleeping, 8 hours average working. Basically, even if you just took 5 hours out of your 25 or 24 hours, that is roughly about 20 minutes an hour, or 20 messages an hour that you would be sending out. And so break it up. Like, you don't have to do 100. That's just kind of what I set when I realized when I started, I knew that I had to do something to go above and beyond, because I wasn't going to hit another network. I wasn't going to be that person, like I said, at the supermarket, or the person, doing parties left and right. So mine was totally social media. So I think that a lot of people just are not reaching out to enough people.
Well, and that's part of the reason that your business has always been above and beyond most people's businesses. I'll just say that, because you've done more than most people are willing to do. And like she said, that number isn't going to be maybe realistic for everyone off the bat, because I know there's some people that, like, I know I worked really hard on my Instagram to get the following that I have. So I can pick through 100 people that day, but I didn't have that before I joined. I worked on that. So just realize you may work your way up to some of these numbers, and that's okay. I like to figure out your ratio. So like this week, take a couple days, figure out what your ratio is. Like when you message 20 people, how many people respond to you? Okay, not how many customers or distributors you sign, because that might take a couple days or even a couple weeks or months to actually sign the people from those messages, but figure out how many people respond. Because then once you figure out how many people respond, how many of those people turn into customers or distributors, once you know that ratio, if you know that you need 3 distributors in any given month, you should know, I need to send out this many messages because I'll probably get this many responses, which means it'll turn into this many distributors or customers. So try to figure out your number, and that gives you a really good place to start reaching out. So, okay, and then one last question. How do you post to attract potential distributors?
I think that it's important to be relatable. So you want to kind of target people's excuses, because that's, I mean, if you think about it, you can combat so many excuses through a post. So for example, if somebody just told me that they have way too much on their plate, my next post is going to be about how when I first started, I worked 60 plus hours a week. I was basically a solo mom due to my husband's schedule. We just relocated. I didn't know a single person in my town. I'm going to target that particular post to their excuse. I'm not going to go tag them in it. That's not what I'm saying. But most likely they're going to see it. So just target your post directed towards people's excuses. Also think about, other things you can think about is like relate to dreading Mondays. Relate to, looking forward to Fridays, that kind of stuff. Whether you're working or you're basically doing this business at home, right now I still post every Sunday. I talk about how I don't have to go into work Monday anymore. Come Friday, I talk about how every day feels like a Friday. I'm doing that kind of stuff because I want people to see that in the moment they're feeling excited because it's Friday, but they can feel excited every day of the week that it's Friday. And even if you work full time, you can still finagle a message around about these things. Another thing is to remember, it's not necessarily network marketing that people want to do. It's the life that you're living that they want. You have to show them that we're just like they are. You have to show them that we're not anyone special, and that they can do this just as easy as we can. We just finally decided to take a chance at this opportunity. And so being relatable to them. I mean, if you think of yourself, like what attached you to this business? Like what drew you in? It probably wasn't like a black, green, and bling, addy, salesy type post. Most likely it was something on the back end, something that you related to, whether somebody just paid for their groceries or they just paid for their gas, or maybe they just bought a pack of diapers, or they, paid for childcare, or they just paid for their Disney vacation. Be relatable, because that's what people want to see. They want to see that we're just like them. We just took a chance at an opportunity that changed our lives.
I love it. I just want to throw this out there because I know there's probably people thinking, well, I don't have that life yet, or that doesn't apply to me. I go to work Monday to Friday. I hate my job. This business hasn't changed my life yet. Okay. We were all there. We all started before this business changed our life. But what you need to know is that people don't typically join this to make $1 million. And, I've heard from distributors before, like, well, of course you can sign distributors. Like you have, this life now, and you have this freedom, and, that I don't have an exciting life. It was almost, I won't say easier, but in some ways it was easier before this was my life, because my life was relatable. I was working multiple jobs. I needed to pay for my groceries. I needed the company to pay for my phone bill. And that was relatable, because most people just want to cover their car payment or cover their groceries or not put anything on their credit card. Most people aren't looking for this like life of crazy freedom and travel. Like, yes, they want it, but they don't quite believe it. So your job is just to get them excited about, that $500 a month and what it could possibly turn into. But keep in mind that those small wins, filling up your gas tank using your Wrap Cash or your Keto Coffee Cash, like that is actually what's going to attract most people into your business. Like, I think that sometimes people don't even believe that you can make crazy money, but they definitely can wrap their brain around making $300 to $500 a month. So just keep that in mind. Thank you, friend.
You're welcome.
All right, Chelsea, you ready? I see you yawning, so. Oh, hold on. Let me unmute you. I think I muted you earlier. I think we're both unmuting you at the same time. There we go. Why are you still muted? Hold on. Can you unmute yourself? Oh, there we go.
Good.
There we go.
Okay. Hi.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm yawning because it's almost 10 o'clock here. It's like past my bedtime.
I know. I'm sorry. I should have let you go first.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Okay, so share just a little bit about you and your Because of It Works.
Okay, so my name's Chelsea, and I actually live in Frederick, Maryland. So I live about 45 minutes north of Washington, D.C. I am a double diamond with It Works, and I have only been doing this 6 months, but it took me almost 2.5 years to actually say yes. And Tiffany is my sponsor.
Amazing.
Oh, it's crazy.
All right, what's your Because of It Works? Besides
Okay.
going double diamond in 6 months.
Yes. So It Works has completely transformed my life. And I know that sounds so cheesy, but it's so real. I was the biggest skeptic of anybody, truly. And so honestly, I signed on and I just took off. And within 6 months, I am able to stay home with my son, Bowen, who is almost 1. I get to wake up with him every single day. I don't have to get in my car anymore and commute almost 2 hours to work. I don't have to sit at a cubicle every day. I get to, like Tiffany said, I get to see, you know, all of those moments. I got to see him crawl for the first time, you know, first words, dada, mama. I got to see all of that. So to me, that is what It Works has blessed me the most. But beyond all of that, It Works has helped us pay off our wedding debt. I am paying off my car 3 years early this month.
Amazing.
We have completely renovated my basement, and we've paid off all kinds of credit card debt. It's seriously within the last 6 months. It's been crazy. So my life is completely transformed. I get so excited talking about it because looking back at my life before I started, it was really hard for us. We were living paycheck to paycheck. My husband lost his job when I was 8 months pregnant, and the list goes on. I'll save that story for another Zoom, but when I say completely transformed, I really, really mean that.
It's so crazy to think of how, 6 months, that's like nothing. Even if it would have taken you 3 years to do what you've done, it's just crazy that we can do that here at It Works. And it doesn't matter if it takes you 6 months or 6 years, it can just totally transform everything. It's also crazy that it took you so long to sign up with Tiffany. And just think if Tiffany had stopped following up or had Tiffany quit, it changed your life and it changed hers. And it just blows my mind to think that there's people out there that if I don't keep following up with, they're not going to join me, or they're going to join someone else and they're going to do what you've done. It just makes me want to stop the Zoom and go follow up with all of the people. But we will. All right. So give us your number one tip for signing distributors.
Okay. So with me, because I have such a personal story on why I joined It Works, it was basically my son was my driving force. So when I'm talking to people, potential distributors, I really like to relate back to them, relate to their personal life, what's going on. I like to get to the root of why they even approached me or why we're even talking about them joining this opportunity. So first, I like to really share my story with them and kind of let them know what this company has done for me, and let them know the struggles that we faced before and how, like I said, it's transformed my life. And because most people are wanting to join to fix whatever financial issues that they're having, whether they can't pay for their gas or they need help with their mortgage, or they maybe just want to have more spending money to kind of alleviate utility bills, things like that. So I like to find that root or that goal that they have in mind, and then I kind of work off of that. And so we get real and we get raw in my conversations, but I think that is super, super important. And it also shows them that I'm being actually very genuine when I'm communicating with them. I'm not just another, network marketing person on Instagram or Facebook, just trying to like have them on my team. I actually care about every single person that comes on my team. And, most of the people that come on my team, I like to stay very connected with them, and they become my friends. And, that all stems from that first bit of communication that we do, on Instagram and getting to know each other. So I would say, long story short, relate to them, get to know them on a personal level, and then go from there.
I love it. I feel like that just instantly builds that trust that people want, and people want to go into business with someone they trust. It doesn't even matter if they know you, as long as they trust you and believe that you actually care about them as a person. Like, I have people all the time that send me their social, and I started talking to the person like a couple weeks ago. We don't even know each other except for on Instagram, but it's that trust that you build by caring about them as a person and not just as a number or as a box or as whatever. So I love it. And I think it makes it way easier to follow up with people when you know their why. Because you can say like, hey, were you still wanting to cover your phone bill? Or, hey, were you still wanting to stay home with your kids? Like, yeah. that answer is never going to change. They're always going to want that thing. So
exactly. And then I just want to add to that as well. I like to talk to all my potentials like they're my friend. Even though we've actually never met in person, if you're communicating with them like they're already a friend or a neighbor or somebody that that makes communication way easier. And you'll notice that they kind of relate back to you a little bit more. If you're kind of not being yourself and talking like, I don't know, like kind of like a salesy person, they're going to pick up on that. If you just be yourself, talk to them like you're texting one of your friends, that's going to help you a lot as well.
I'm glad you said that, because I did want to point out there are messages in the chat now. Like, some of the girls have added their messages. Read through them, like actually read what they say, and also read what your potential says. Because I have a lot of people that really want to be robotic, and they won't even answer the question that the person asked because they're so focused on the script that they have on their phone to send them. Like, these are just templates. You are going to have to deal with, excuses and answering people's questions. They're going to ask you stuff that maybe isn't answered in these scripts. So just know that it's fluid in the business and the messages. Everything's always changing. What works for us best is always changing. So that's why we do these Zooms and why we brainstorm on what's working for someone that's doing really well. And that's why I wanted you guys to pick their brains, because obviously what they're doing now is working really well. So just like she said, be relational. Like, don't just be so anxious to send the next part of the script that you're not actually listening to what they're saying or what they need from you.
And sometimes I know we have these scripts to work off of, but sometimes I have to throw the script out of the window sometimes, just because I can't be scripty with some people. I actually have to, sit down and talk to them and, have that conversation. I can't go off of a script. So be prepared for that as well. We have all these scripts to go off of just to help you and guide you in the conversation, but don't solely use those as your conversation kind of develops and goes. Kind of put in your little touch as well. That will really help you.
I love it. And there's like 2 or 3 messages that I'll say almost come out in every single conversation, but there's probably 5 to 10 that I can't put in the chat because it wouldn't make sense, because it's totally based around that person. Sometimes we'll even get 2 conversations going at once. You know what I mean? Like, we'll be talking about the business, but I'll ask them a question about their kids. And so it's like, now we're having 2 conversations within one chat box, and that's okay. Like, it's building that relationship. So Chelsea, why don't you give us your number one thing that like people do wrong or don't do enough of or whatever to sign distributors?
So kind of what I have noticed in the last 6 months is some of our DTs, and I know I struggle with this even myself, is lack of patience. So we come in, we start this business, and we are raring to go, and we think that, hey, we're going to make $500 tomorrow. Like, I'm going to make $500 tomorrow. But then when we start communicating with people and we get those conversations going, we're like, okay, this is way tougher than I actually thought it might be. I'm having to follow up. I'm having to really communicate with people and keep it. And you'll have people talk to you and they'll just drill you with questions. And then at the end of the day, they're like, oh, I have to think about it. And so mentally, that's kind of tough to overcome. So my biggest thing to teach my team is have patience. You have to put yourself in the person's shoes that you are talking to. For me, for example, it took me 2 years to sign. So when I'm talking to a distributor that is just really on the fence and doesn't seem like she wants to jump, and it takes a while, it takes a couple of months, I have to think, okay, Chelsea, go back through all of the messages that you and Tiffany had over the last 2 years and kind of give yourself a reality check, because you know, these people are no different than you. So you have to think of it that way. You have to have patience. You have to build that relationship. You have to nurture these potentials. Just like Tiffany said, these are seeds. We have to water these seeds and nurture them. And then, you know, eventually they will blossom into a beautiful flower. So that's something. You got to build that relationship and keep consistent with that as well. If somebody says no, you keep going back. You keep checking in. Even if you're checking in and saying, hey, girl, I just want to let you know I've been thinking about you. You're still on my mind. How are you? Just simply even just asking them how they are is letting them know that you are still there and you haven't went away. And then as you continue that conversation with them, just by asking them how they are, you can kind of slip something in there and just be like, hey, you know, we have this promo going on, or, you know, it's only blah, blah, blah. You can, you know, slip something in there, whatever it might be at the present time. Don't give up on these people. Like I said, Tiffany didn't give up on me for 2.5 years. What if she did? I would not be sitting here talking to you guys. And I would not be home with my baby. I would still be working, over 40 hours a week sitting in a cubicle. So do not give up on anybody, because you have no idea. This person could be your next rock star.
Yeah,
they really could. It might take years. It might take months. It could take weeks, but don't give up on anybody. Nobody is a no. If they actually ask you what you're doing and they keep the conversation going, write their name down, because they are a hard potential. Even if they don't say yes, they could, you know, they could say yes tomorrow, the next day, month, a year down the road. So have patience. That is my biggest piece of advice.
I love it. And I want to throw this out there, because I think for a lot of us that have been in for a lot of time or have seen quite a bit of success like Chelsea has, I think the patience also causes us not to be desperate. And I think not being desperate often attracts people into the business, because when I talk to someone today and they tell me, I just have way too much on my plate today, or this month or this year or whatever, it sounds interesting, but not for me. Like, I will tell them, like, I get it. I work with lots of busy girls, but I also don't feel the need to like try to really push it on them. Like, let's just do it, because I know they're going to continue to watch, and I'm going to post about how I was so busy when I started. And I don't feel the need to like get them in the computer that day. And I think that pays off. I think sometimes people get so desperate to change their mind that they actually end up pushing their potentials away. So there's a balance of like urgency and getting these people to overcome their excuses, but also being like, you know what, I'm going to message 10, 20, 50, 100 new people tomorrow. So it's okay if she doesn't sign today. Like, I'll come back to her. And sometimes I think that's appealing to people, to know that you haven't forgotten about them, but you're also not following up with them every single day. So I think having that long-term vision, like, I know I'm still going to be here in a year. So when that girl's ready, I'll be here. She'll sign with me. So the sooner you can get that commitment to the company, the better your recruiting will be. Because if you're not sure if you're going to be here in 2 months, that person's going to sense it, and they're already nervous to do this. So they're going to be even more nervous to join with someone that they think might just turn around and quit. So that's why we also say, like, post consistently and show people you're serious, because if they're going to put their name on a company, they want to join with someone that's also serious, that's going to help them and not leave them. So posting is one of the ways that we show people that, you know, we're here and we're serious. So anyways, just a side tangent.
And I actually, you know, I've had people reach out to me by themselves. I didn't even have to reach out to them, and they've just simply asked me, you know, what are you doing? How do you do this? How are you staying home with Bowen? And I will share the info, and then they'll kind of ghost me and they'll go away. And I'm like, okay, but you reached out to me. Where did you go? What did I say? But maybe it's just not their right time and they just need more time to think about it. And I actually have a DT on here, Lauren Cruz. She was one of those. She reached out to me, wanted to know how I stayed home with Bowen. I told her, and then she, boom, gone like a ghost. And 3 months later, she's like, hey, how do I do this? Let me sign on. I want to do this. So she was watching me over those 3 months. And, she decided to sign on. So it just might not be their time. So again, that's why we stay consistent. That's why we don't give up on anybody, really.
You don't know the power of the seed that's been planted. Like
Right.
you don't know that until it blooms. And then you're like, where has that been? Like, I had no idea you were going to change my entire life. Okay. Sorry. I know this, we'll move on, but I wanted to read you guys this because I sent it to someone today and I just think it's so powerful. And I'll post it on the team page. So just listen. If you have too much writing on one deal, one prospect, one interview, one audition, one idea, one meeting, one presentation, one speech, one anything, then you will invariably suffer greater anxiety about the outcome. You must have enough irons in the fire to ensure that one disappointment does not devastate you and put you on tilt. So again, it just goes to show you, like, if you're patient, if you just know that you're going to wake up and you're going to message 25, 30, 40 people, you're not putting so much pressure on the one potential that you had from today. Like, it can totally change your business and your mindset and your positivity to just every day, like, plant new seeds and plant new seeds. Because if you're waiting on that one person you talked to 3 weeks ago that said she was going to sign on Friday and then didn't, like, that's a lot of anxiety because that girl's gone. And so now what? Like, you're stuck. So don't ever just put all of the pressure on one person to join your business. Know that they'll come around eventually. They'll be a distributor. They'll be a customer, but you've got to keep moving forward and then just keep building that relationship. So real quick, and then we'll move on to Sarah. Do you have any posting tips for attracting potential distributors?
Yeah. So when I post, I like to target the insecurities that I had when I was telling Tiffany no. I was giving her all the excuses. I don't think people will buy from me. I can't sell anything. I don't want to annoy my friends. I don't want to make my entire Facebook feed nothing but, it works, whatever products and things like that. That's kind of what I had in my head when I was telling her no all of those times. And I know that for everybody else that I talk to, and this is my number one excuse that I get, is that I can't sell anything. I can't sell anything. I don't want to annoy people. That's what people tell me the most. So when I am doing my business posts or my DT posts, things like that, I'd like to talk about, how I felt before I signed on. And I talk about how, I know some of you might be judging me, but this company has completely transformed my life and it has done da 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 da. And so then I will list exactly what has happened in my life since joining and what it looked like then. So again, I'm sharing my story. I'm being relatable to people. And I always like to, and I know this is, I know this is kind of cheesy as well, but I like to have a picture of me, my face, because when people are scrolling, they're going to see my big chunk of writing on Facebook. But they're going to see my face, and that's what's going to make them read my post.
I thought you were going to say your big chunk of face, and I was like,
my big chunk of writing or my big paragraph. They're going to see that, but they're also going to see my photo that I put with it. So it's either going to be me and Bowen, or most times it's Bowen. Let's be real. Or it's going to be me and Bowen, or a picture of me, or a selfie, or something like that. So they're going to stop and they're going to read because there's a picture there. It sounds weird, but that's just how people are. They want to read what we put out there if there's an eye-catching photo. So that's what I do. And most times I try to just to target people in the feels. All of my business posts are targeting people right in the feels. And I have got a lot of success from what I have written and put out there. I've had people come to me and they say, wow, what you posted today really hit home with me. I would really like to think about what you do. And to me, I know that I'm doing my job when just from a post alone, somebody's coming to me and saying that they relate to it. So that's what I do. And this is kind of probably a repetition of what Tiffany said, but I relate to people don't want to go to work on Monday? Well, this is what I do. You want to live every day like it's Friday? Do what I do. So I'm just sharing and making it relatable to people. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Thank you, friend. All right, Sarah, before I ask you the same questions, again, I feel like we say this all the time, but posting is not asking. I just wanted these girls to share the posts that they do make to help attract potential distributors, but just know that a lot of it is going to come from reaching out. So that's why they're sharing their messages with you, but I also just wanted you to have some post inspiration also. Again, posting is like your storefront. So you're not going to message someone and be like, hey, you'd be great at what I do. And then they go to your page and they literally don't see you doing anything. So like, that's confusing. They don't need to see you like blasting products everywhere and like always talking about business, but there needs to be something there. Like you can't say, I have an ice cream shop, come in, and then they come in and there's no ice cream there. Like that is confusing to people. So that's why we're talking about posting. If you want to attract potential distributors, you've got to have something for them to see. Even if you're brand new, sharing, like if you're on Chelsea's team or Sarah's team, like even sharing part of their story, like, hey, this is my friend Sarah, she does this, this is what I'm aiming for, this is where I'm going to be next year, or next time you're with those girls, if you live locally, take a picture with them and share their story until you have that story that you want. All right, so Sarah, hey, Sarah, your name, where you live, because of it works.
Okay, I am Sarah Brewer. Sorry, I look a mess, but look, my nails are cute. I got my nails done today. You can't really see, but the rest of me is, I live in Omaha, Nebraska, and I am a double diamond leader, which I don't think that I'll ever get old saying.
It will when you're a triple or a prize.
Oh, true. Guys, get to double diamond. Payday was today. I cried. Get to double diamond. Yeah. What is your question? I think I got them all.
You've been in for...
Oh, because of it. Oh, sorry. I started last March, so a little over a year, like almost a year and a half. And my Because of It works, along with Tiffany and Chelsea. I get to stay home with Jagger. He's turning 1 in like a week. But also I get to, this hasn't happened yet, but I'm speaking it into existence. I get to retire Howie as well. And we get to be a full-time family. And I'm literally one rank away from doing that. And when I set out to I was like, we're going to be one of those families that we both do this. We're a full-time family. We don't have to worry about going to the office or anything like that. I was like, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I can't even believe that a year later, it's happening, it's going to happen. And yeah, that is my Because of It works. That is 1,000,000% possible.
So what you just did is a great post inspiration for people that are like, I don't have that story yet. You just spoke into existence a goal. So don't lie about the money that you're making. Don't be like, hey, we're going to be a full-time family. And you just started yesterday and haven't earned your shopping spree. Don't go that far, but you can talk about this is why I'm doing it. This is what I see for my life. People don't need to know you've already achieved it. They just need to know where you're going. We always say people don't follow a parked car. So just, keep moving and show them where you're going. All right. So give us your number 1 tip for signing distributors.
My number one of them is treat them like a human. We kind of already touched on this. Some people went off script. Thanks, guys. No, I'm just kidding. But this was kind of already touched on, but I just know that I've got a lot of new girls, and they're amazing, and they ask a bunch of questions, and I'm obsessed with all the questions. But sometimes I just want to be like, guys, let's just treat people like our friends and just regular humans. It's not you can't say the wrong thing to the right person And even though that person isn't going to join you today, tomorrow, a month from now, 5 months from now, they're going to join you eventually because you planted the seed and because you continued to follow up, just like the other girls have talked about. So don't put so much pressure on yourself to say the perfect thing, say the right thing. Don't feel like you have to be like, what do I say to this? If you're having to ask, what do I say to this? You're probably not thinking genuinely enough. And that's totally normal because we want people to jump in with us because we see the success potential, or we've had success, so we already see it happening. So we want people to jump in with us, but we have to still treat people like they don't know anything, because they don't know anything. And just treat them, like Chelsea said, like your friend. Like, even though some of these people we're reaching out to, like, we're not besties with them yet. Just remember, like, don't put so much pressure on yourself, and just be genuine, because that's what's gonna, like, if you're nervous to talk to somebody, I've told people that I'm nervous to talk to them about this because it's out of my comfort zone, and we've never talked about the business before, but I just wanted to reach out to you because I'm obsessed with XYZ on your feed, whatever. And they're usually like, oh, don't ever be nervous to reach out to me. Like, I totally get it. I'm cheering you on, whatever. You get good responses if you're genuine. So yeah, just always keep that in the back of your head.
And I always think, someone told me this very early on in my business, it's always stuck with me, but whatever you do, whatever you say, someone else thinks that they're going to have to do or say when they sign up with you. So if you are just being like super salesy and not relational, they're thinking, to be successful like her or to do what she's doing, I'm going to have to do that same thing, and I don't want to do that. But if you're being friendly and just genuinely caring, like, people are like, okay, like, this girl's nice, I'm nice. Like, I always, people tell me they're not good at sales, I'm like, are you a good person? When they say yes, or I think so, or whatever, I'm like, perfect, you're great for it. Like, that's what I'm looking for. I don't want someone to be good at sales. So I think you guys all touched on that in some shape or form. So if you guys are on here, like, that should be huge.
Important.
Treat people like they're a human, and just, like, be relational, and don't totally work off scripts. Like, just be a friend. Okay. All right. And then what's the number one thing that you think holds people back from recruiting?
Getting over, like, people's excuses, people's no, not interested, people's fears. I'm not a salesperson. I'm too busy. I could never do what you do. Like, all the different responses that we get, getting over those and getting past those. And it kind of relates to the first thing, just treating that person like a human, and remembering, like, what were your reasons why you didn't join for however long you didn't join. I have Crystal, Bree, Rachel started following me a while back. Like, I have several girls on this Zoom right now that you guys said no or ghosted me or whatever for months, a year. What was going through your minds? Don't forget that. Don't forget where you guys were at and why you didn't join. And remember that people are going to have those same reasons why, and use those. Somebody's not going to be like, oh, she was skeptical and then she joined, I probably shouldn't join. Yeah. Like, no, when you say that I was skeptical, or I was nervous that I wasn't going to make any money, but I just got $100 shopping spree, or I just got my first $100 bonus, or I just got my first customer, or I just made my first post. Like, as small as it is in your mind, or as big as it is in your mind, telling people about those things and not letting whatever people's responses are to you saying you'd be a rock star at what I do, don't let those responses keep you from continuing on the conversation. Even if this is one other thing, like, keeping, Alyssa kind of touched on it, keeping kind of two conversations going in one conversation, having, like, the personal conversation talking about their baby or their wedding or their whatever, their college life, and then obviously still talking about the business and stuff. And the business side can get dropped from the conversation. That is okay. That happened with me and Katie Lou, and she is now a diamond leader on her way to double. that it's fine. You don't have to be like, I don't know what to say to bring it back. It'll come back up, I promise. So just, yeah, do not let people's reasons why they don't want to join right now keep you from continuing on the conversation.
Love it. All right. And then lastly, tell us kind of how you post or give some posting tips for attracting potentials.
Okay. So, the ones that you guys said are, pretty spot on. So mine, I kind of thought like a little of like a tactical, like tangible way. So I post about what I know, and I post about like what I'm doing. Like clearly, if you've ever gone to my page, I have a baby, I have a husband, I have a business, and that's what I post about. So when it comes to like pictures and stuff, I look like this most of the time. So when I go on a date night with my husband or go to church, or, one day I do just put on makeup and do my hair or whatever, maybe I do that for a couple days, great. Or when I used to work an office job, I did do my hair and makeup pretty much every day. So I would take selfies in the car, selfies outside the car, selfies at my desk. I would take selfies in the bathroom. I would have my husband take pictures of me, like against a brick wall or in front of whatever. It doesn't matter. It literally takes 5 minutes out of whatever else you're doing for the day. But you will thank yourself, because throughout the next week or two, you can use those pictures and take several, do different poses. Like I have so many pictures in the same outfit with different poses. Sometimes I'm holding Jagger, sometimes I'm on my phone. Like just get kind of creative and have fun with it. And even look at Pinterest and go and search like, this is kind of cheesy, so maybe not this, but like senior pictures or like cute girl picture. I don't know. I haven't really done that before, so you'll have to tell me what you get when you search cute girl pictures on Pinterest. I wouldn't recommend searching that on Google. But like if you need inspiration, just kind of try to find somewhere to find it.
I put like girls on iPhone or like iPhone coffee meeting. Like sometimes you can find like, it's always better if it has like a face or like your life in it. But yes, I get where you're going with cute girls.
I was saying you can look up those types of pictures for inspiration to do for your own pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah, for now, I mean, if you're like, I am just not a selfie person, I'm not a picture person, that's okay. You don't have to be a picture person if you want to be a millionaire. You might want to like get a little bit better, but we'll start from the bottom. But yeah, that's one of my like big tips is just when you have a little bit of like, be purposeful with your time and take some stinking pictures so that you can post them throughout the week when you look like this.
You should never not post because you don't have photos. Like you should have like prepare, like do that on a Sunday if you get ready for church or you go out like a date night, like she said, stock up on some photos, because all you have to do now is come up with a caption, throughout the week when you're super busy. So such a good tip. Okay. Well, that was good, y'all. Way to like do that pretty quickly. We didn't even go a full hour. All of the messages are in the chat. There's quite a few for you guys to just like save. I will post them to the team page as soon as possible. I just had 2 other tips that I thought of while the girls were talking, and then we'll jump off of here. To go along with posting tips, show people how you're working and when you're working. Show them how you're squeezing it in. Like, especially those of you that have full-time jobs, your excuse was if you thought you were too busy to join, you're going to encounter a lot of people that think they're too busy to join. So show them how you're doing it. If you're in the car waiting to pick up your kids from school, are you talking to a potential distributor? Did you just sign a customer while you were grocery shopping? Did you just get a weekly bonus while you were mowing the lawn or something? Like, those are the things that you want to share. Like, show them how you're doing it. And it's a really, really powerful tool to show people like, look, I was doing this, or I was watching Netflix and I'm still getting paid to be on my phone. So that's one thing. And the second thing is, and some of you guys have maybe heard me say this before, but I wasn't a high recruiter when I first joined this business. I didn't message a ton of people. I didn't even have an Instagram. Like, social media wasn't even really that big when I started this. And so I wasn't a high recruiter, but something changed my business like 3 years in, and I'll never forget it. I was sitting in the parking lot with a presidential, and she said that you need to start treating the business like it's a no-brainer. Like, she's like, you're so good at signing customers. So like, how easy is it to sign a customer, or like to maybe not to sign a customer, but to sell them on the customer program? Like, most people, if they're going to buy the products, almost all of them are going to buy them as a loyal customer because it's such a good deal. And we have so many products and it's so affordable and there's no membership fee and they get wholesale pricing for life and blah, 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 blah. We're so confident in the customer program. And so our customers are often confident in doing it because that's how we sell it. And it's very simple, and we're excited about it, and we know that's what they're going to want to do. As soon as you can start talking about the business the same way, with the same kind of confidence and excitement, you're going to sell people on trying the business because of the way you talk about it. And so I just flipped my mentality and was like, people are crazy for not trying the business. Like, if you're going to spend $59 on a box of wraps, spend $99 and start making money. Like, that's crazy that you would even be a customer. And I just I had to kind of fake it for a little while. And now that's just what I believe. Like, why would you spend money on the products when you could so easily just post and share them with your friends and make money and earn free products, and I'm going to help you. And something just shifted in me. And I went from signing like 20 distributors a year to signing 50 to 110 distributors a year after that. And it was honestly all a mental shift. I didn't talk to anyone that I didn't mention the business to. I never signed a customer without offering them the business. It just changed the way I talk to people. And when people think they'd be silly to not give it a shot, people don't want to feel silly. People don't want to feel stupid. And I'm not saying I make them feel stupid. I just make them feel like, why wouldn't you give it a shot? Like, there's literally no risk. You're getting these products. You're at least going to earn a shopping spree. Like, the more simple you can keep it and the easier you can make it seem. Like, we know it takes work, especially when you have goals to go like double diamond in 6 months. You know that's going to take work. They don't pay you that kind of money to just like dilly daddle on your phone. But sometimes it's just a matter of, why wouldn't you just try it? And I've had people that just signed up to try it that are now emeralds, diamonds, double diamonds, because they just wanted to see how it went. And then they joined, and then they figured out that I actually like this, or I actually like the team, or wow, there's way more help than I thought there would be, and so on and so forth. And the rest is history. So sometimes it's just a matter of helping them see that there is money to be made and offering it to them. We don't want everyone to be a distributor if they're not even going to try. Don't hear me wrong. But I think that mentality shift will really help some of you guys. So, all right. Well, that's it for tonight. I will save the chat. Thank you guys for getting on. Thank you, girls, for helping and sharing all of your tips and your messages. That was amazing of you guys to do, and I know everyone seriously appreciates it.